Tessa Duvall, a reporter at the Florida Times-Union, also joining us from Jacksonville. Tessa, tell us what you're seeing around you. And we have video now that you sent us that shows what looks like storm surge as well as waves crashing into the coast here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, hi, I'm here on the Jacksonville River Walk on the north bank. I am near where there are a lot of banks and other institutions that have their offices, and this is normally a quiet river walk where you see people running and jogging and enjoying being outside, and today it looks a lot more like the Atlantic Ocean than a river itself.
Okay, and just to be clear to our viewers, this is actually what Tessa is seeing right now, what you're seeing on camera, these waves crashing up, what Tessa has just described as a river walk. Tessa, what are authorities telling you about the dangers that are happening right now? Is what we're seeing rainfall and the effects of that, or are we seeing what we had been warned about for a week, which is storm surge?
Yeah, so we are coming up on high tide right now, so that's a big part of what we're seeing. We also had a nor'easter that blew through Jacksonville prior to us even seeing Hurricane Irma or any of her bands yesterday. So we got rain and wind and trees before we ever saw the hurricane itself. So it's a combination of all of these things that is really contributing to the flooding that you're seeing. And as you can see, we've got a lot of folks outside who are really curious about this. Like I said, this is normally really nice and pretty, good place to take in the river, to enjoy it from a lot further distance than we're seeing it at right now.
Yeah, I can hear a lot of wind around you, and as we look at our live satellite picture, Jacksonville still is within Irma's path here on the eastern coast of the Florida Peninsula. Is it still raining heavily, and how intense is the wind that you're feeling there?
It is still raining in parts of our area. We got some sprinkles on the way over here. The heavy rain has seemed to hold off for the last few hours, at least in the part of town that I've been in. So right now the wind is still continuing to be a bigger factor for us here.
Okay, and you said high tide is coming up right now. How are you hearing about rescues in that area occurring? We were seeing a live rescue from our affiliate WJAX. Is that happening near where you are?
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of rescues happening, not on this area particularly, because as you can see, this is a lot of just office buildings around us. Most people were told not to report to work today, so we're not having people rescued from these buildings, but certainly from our neighborhoods and a lot of flood-prone areas. There have been hundreds, I believe about 600 calls to the fire department today, just trying to get people to safety.
How unusual is this for this part of Florida to be experiencing this kind of flooding?
Yeah, this is unlike anything that people have seen for a long time. One of my editors talked to a neighbor who'd lived in his historic neighborhood home for 30 years and hadn't seen any flooding. I mean, the street, you could kayak down it, and hadn't seen anything like that the entire time that he lived in this historic neighborhood, which is basically right on the river. So this is, we are used to some flooding. You take that when you are near the beach, when you are near the river, but this is just judging by the number of people who are out just gawking at this. A lot of us have never seen anything like this before.
And are officials telling people to stay inside still there?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I mean, Tessa, I know that you're a journalist, so you're outside, you're reporting on this very important story that's affecting your communities down there in Florida. But are other people supposed to be out there, or are they being told to stay inside and hunker down the way they were earlier today?
Yeah, a lot of people are still being encouraged to stay inside when you have flooded roads. You don't want people getting swept away. But of course, this is something that's really abnormal, and so people are curious. As you can tell, there's a lot of folks out here who are also doing the same thing I'm doing, for better or worse.
Yeah, and again, what you guys are watching right now on your video is a live shot where reporter Tessa Duvall is, and you can see that's supposed to be a calm river walk, and those waves are crashing up on that riverbank as though it were the Atlantic Ocean. But that is actually the river-facing side of Jacksonville, which is continuing to experience flooding. Tessa, how bad do officials believe this flooding is going to get as high tide continues and combines with the amount of rainfall that's been received there?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
How much worse are officials expecting the flooding to get? Is Jacksonville through the worst of it, or will high tide bring even higher waters to certain areas?
Hang on, I am so sorry. It is windy out here, as you can tell, so I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing you.
Okay, no problem. Tessa Duvall there, obviously she's still in the middle of the edge of Irma there, so she's not really hearing us, but Tessa Duvall, a reporter at the Florida Times-Union there, sharing with us a live picture of what she's seeing there on the Riverwalk in Jacksonville, which is experiencing historic flooding.